The Trump administration tonight firing back at Harvard University after the school basically set up a showdown with the Trump administration, rejecting some of the White House's demands on its policies. A White House spokesperson saying, in part, President Trump wants to end unchecked anti-Semitism and that Harvard's response could put its federal funding at risk. But Harvard's president says the university will not surrender its independence and that neither Harvard nor any other private university can allow itself to be taken over by the federal government. The Trump administration had something like 10 demands for Harvard, including the elimination of DEI programs and the restriction of acceptance of international students who are, and I'm quoting here, hostile to American values and institutions. Stephanie Gosk is joining us now. You couldn't think of a perhaps bigger name in the world of college universities to go basically head to head with the Trump administration on some of these controversial changes that the White House wants. What happens next here?
Well, you know, it's interesting, Hallie. First of all, it's worth pointing out that Harvard receives $9 billion worth of federal funding from the government. And so that's a real hammer that the government has and can hold that above Harvard University, try to get them to make some of these changes. This letter that Harvard received on Friday night is really long, and it has a lot of very specific things that they are calling on the university to do to get this funding. Among them are things like hiring an independent third party to determine whether there's anti-Semitism on campus and in the curriculum. Also to make sure that there's diversity of opinion on campus. And you've heard a bunch of White House officials, including the vice president himself, talking about how there is a throughout our universities, a kind of sickness where there is no diversity of opinion. And this is clearly part of an effort to change the way universities operate. And they're holding this funding, which is really how research is done at universities, in large part because of this funding. They are holding that over the heads of schools and universities around the country.
Harvard is a wealthy school. They just are, right? How much of an impact is this going to have on them? Let's say they were to use that federal funding. To your point, Steph, in the world of carrots and sticks, I mean, that's a big one. How much of an impact could this actually have?
Well, really big. I mean, $9 billion is a lot of money. The school very clearly relies on it. And yes, they are an incredibly wealthy school. But if that is removed, that will change how research is done on campus. But interestingly, Harvard taking a stand in a very public way, and not just about itself, also saying that universities and schools around the country should follow their lead. They are calling this a violation of their First Amendment rights. Hallie.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.